we do with Parent Summit Africa is to help parents. What we do with Parent Summit Africa is to help parents experience an awakening.
Everyone.
An awakening
Welcome
that will
to the Parent Summit Africa conversation. Who is excited to join us?
What we do with Parent Summit Africa
is excited to join us. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to the first session of day one of the Parent Summit Africa conversation, and this particular conversation is in commemoration of the Global Day of Parents 2022. In commemoration of the Global Day of Parents 2022, and the theme of this conversation is building strong families, raising better humans, and changing the world. And why we are having this conversation is because we believe that the family is very, very important. In fact, it is our key pathway to actually changing the world that we live in. If we want to see changes in the society, then we have to do things right in the family, right? And what is Parent Summit Africa? Parent Summit Africa is an event. We usually hold it once a year, but this year we decided to start doing, conversations at least once a quarter, where we discuss important things concerning the family, concerning parenting, and the society at large. Parent Summit is powered by the Vivian Okoye Parenting Academy, right? Over the past 5 years, we've held amazing conversations every year in the city of Abuja. In 2022, when the pandemic hit, we actually held an online conversation, or an online Parent Summit Africa that, was really, 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 really amazing. And this particular year, we're trying to have quarterly conversation. And to start this conversation with us is a man I respect and love so much. Somebody who is very passionate about the family unit, and somebody who is exemplary when it comes to, parenting, when it comes to family life, when it comes to marriage, right? And this person is no other than Mr. Jeph Oluwagbemiga, and he's here to share from his wealth of experience, right? He's been married for over 20 years, and he has been a parent for over 20 years. So he has a lot of experiences to share with us, not just as a parent, but also as a psychologist, as well as a family life therapist, right? So it's going to be an amazing conversation. And if you're already in the live stream, I'd like you to share and invite others to join this conversation as I welcome our guest to come on and share with us. Welcome. I'm excited to have you, and this is going to be truly amazing. So let's get this started. Welcome, sir. Welcome. We are super excited to have you. Welcome, and you're opening the floor for us. And we know that you have so much to share with us. And I'm going to leave the stage for you and allow you to do your thing. When you see me come back, you know that it's time for Q&A, right? So thank you so much, and do your thing.
This is Nigeria, and so we say good evening. But for those who are in another part of the world, we say good day to you. My name is Jeph Oluwagbemiga, and it's a great privilege to be here this evening, like Vivian just mentioned, and it's a great opportunity to be on this platform, powered by Vivian Okoye Parenting Academy. She'll be doing a lot of work in parenting, and I love that. All right, today I'm going to share with us, I've been married for 25 years. And we have 3 nations, by God's grace, who taught us parenting. Because before you get married, you have different ideas about parenting. By the time the first pregnancy is coming, you'll be rehearsing how you will be a father or mother. But as soon as the child comes in, you find out that all your theories are shaking. You find out that whatever thing that you think those things are going to be queried And at the end of the day, you discover that you will need to learn parenting from the people you are parenting. Right. Okay, so let me first of all share some of the things I have learned in my marriage and how that has helped my parenting and how it is still helping my parenting. Don't let me forget to tell you that your parenting starts from age 0. It continues until age 18, or maybe because of Nigerian factor, sometimes you have the children at home till more than 18. But whatever thing you see from 18, 19 upwards is actually your report card being delivered to you in the behavior you see in your children. Well, some people might argue this, but let's just keep it aside. Let's talk about other things. So when I got into marriage, uh, before I got into marriage, I witnessed a whole lot of things that I did not like. I witnessed people who didn't take care of their wives properly. I witnessed couples who fight regularly. I witnessed neglect and all those things. I witnessed it from different people. And I decided that I was not going to get married. In fact, there was a day I saw a particular pastor beat his wife to pulp, lock the wife up, and went to church. And he went to church, he went to preach in church, and he came back home. And then he told the wife, I overheard them. He told the wife that people ask after you in church today. That one I said, what did you tell them? I said, I told them that you were sick. He said, you didn't tell them that you beat me. He said, you are a liar, pastor liar. And I was like, God, if this is marriage, I don't want it. I don't want it. But along the line, I discovered that everyone will be responsible for the kind of marriage they end up having. Because when you're getting married, it's an entry point into building a family. And when you come into building a family, meaning you are going to bring children to that family, if you are bringing children to that family, it means that you and your spouse need to find a way to make your marriage work so that you can mentor those children correctly. It's difficult to separate your marriage from parenting because as a psychologist, I've had parents bringing their children, majorly teenagers, and they say this one is doing this and doing that. And the very first thing I try to probe is to troubleshoot their family system. I like to troubleshoot their marriage so that I can have an idea of what makes this child to be like this. I'm not saying that 100% of everything that happens to a child that is going wrong came from the family, but I can tell you that a huge chunk of it came from the family. I cannot mention a percentage now, but I know a whole lot of things that affect the children came from the family. Okay, so what are the things that I learned in my marriage and how has that helped me in parenting and how has that helped me in being the kind of person that God has helped us to be today? I want to say that whatever I'm going to say today is not because I'm a psychologist and it's not photo trick, it's not photoshopping material. No, it's not Facebook photoshopping. It's as it is. My number, I mean, you can, if you Google my name, you will see my name and whatever. So you can actually take me up on any of this. So I'm not doing any photoshopping or whatever. Everything I'm going to say today, by the grace of God, are correct and things that I've practiced. Anyway, I've not practiced, I'll let you know that I've not practiced it. But the one I've done, I think I'm going to tell you. Now, one of the first things I'm going to mention about marriage is that you are different persons with varying value system, so it is normal for you to act differently. In fact, it's abnormal for both of you to act the same way. So when people come to me and say, Coach Jeph, my wife is misbehaving, I say, what do you mean of misbehaving? Define it for me. He say, well, when we are driving, you looking left and right, and why can't she face front? I say, that's not misbehaving. It's misbehaving because you put it side by side your own values. Not forgetting that your map is not the territory, meaning that what you know is not all that it is to be known. So it is normal that your behavior will be different. I mean, it is very normal to be able to be different. So don't panic when you get married and you see that what you saw in marriage or what you are seeing in marriage is different from what you saw during courtship. So courtship is not marriage. Dating is not marriage. It's just like we are taking a stroll. You know when you are taking a stroll, you take it casually. You are not under pressure. But when it comes to marriage, you are under pressure. When it comes to marriage, you are not casual. When it comes to marriage, there's a goal that you need to get. So behavior will definitely change. All right. Then, following up with this, I'll say the second one, which is acting differently is not primarily to fight you. When your spouse is acting differently, she's not how to get you. She's not how to witch hunt you. She's not how to insult you. She's on what we call autopilot. It's not about you. Primarily, it's not about you. It's about how our belief system, working with our emotions, are pushing out the action that you see. You know, we have different things that are responsible for our behavior. We have triggers. Those triggers are your value system, very, very important. Your upbringing, your own upbringing, your the kind of friends you have, your personality, that means your temperament, and a whole lot of things, your religion, your cultural background, all those things are at the background. And so these things form your belief system. So when you get into marriage, you're going to be behaving exactly the way you have been behaving. And you know one thing, if you have been behaving very well before, well in quote, marriage is going to shake you. Because marriage exposes things. Marriage is revealer of secrets. Marriage is marriage will set you up. So when people say, I want to get married so that I can what they use this word, I can settle down. Marriage is going to upset you. Upset you means it's going to reshuffle so many things in your life. And then you are supposed to now be putting every jigsaw puzzle back into the right place. And that is not going to happen in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. No. It will take time. And just so you have mind for 25 years, we are still putting a lot of things in their right places. Yes, about 25 years. Because every day you learn new things. And if one thing you must learn, one thing that helped me in my marriage that I won't forget to mention here is that you must be a learner. Learn every day from everything and from everyone and from your spouse. Learn. Even from your children, learn. So number 3, I'd like to say that you will disagree on many things, but you don't have to live disagreeable lives. Definitely, surely, assuredly, you will disagree on many things because your values are always going to come to fore. They're going to come to the forefront. And the beautiful thing about marriage is marriage is a beautiful complexity. It's beautiful, but it's complex. I enjoy the beautiful complexity because sometimes you look at the other person and say, how is this person comfortable in this kind of situation? And you are not comfortable. For example, we have AC in our room, but that AC, myself and the AC are enemies. Meanwhile, my wife loves the AC, wants it to reach freezing level. Freezing level, somebody's son is already freezing here. And you wonder, how can you put on the AC since morning? It's too cold, it's freezing. And you say, it's normal, it's not, and you are wondering. So you are different, but you don't have to live disagreeable lives. Don't forget that marriage does not happen where you are. You are here, she is there. Marriage does not happen where he is or where you are, or where she is or where you are. You need to come and meet at the midpoint. That midpoint could be closer to her or could be closer to you, but there must be a midpoint. There must be a midpoint. You don't get to that midpoint also in maybe 3 months or 4 months. You keep gravitating towards it. All right. So I say your value system can be adjusted. Try to adjust your value system as time goes on to the extent that no material thing will be greater than your spouse. Oh yes. You need to adjust your values because children are going to come. When children come, I'm going to get to that place. When children come, you find that it's like your marriage is doing reset. Or it's like somebody's pressing control, alternate, delete, and resetting your marital system, and you wonder what is all this. A bundle of joy has come into the family, and then it's like I don't want to my wife again. That my wife does not like me again. No, it's not like that. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. All right. So let your value system go through continuous adjustment for both of you now. Let it go through conscious continuous adjustment because as time goes on, you're going to discover that something that used to matter to you 3 years ago no longer matters. Or something that you are crazily holding on to like 5 years ago. You look at it now and it's like, what happened to me? I'm not even talking about this thing again. Yes, because really, as you grow and you are consciously addressing your value system, some things will not matter any longer. and something that didn't matter then now come to the forefront, and then begin to pay more attention on those things. Now, let me say this also. You need to define what is worth your battle. In marriage, you have to define what is worth your battle. Some things are not worth your battle. They are not even worth shouting. They are not even worth they are not even worth to even respond to. But because sometimes we have not been able to learn, we have not been able to, knowledge is what makes marriage work. Knowledge. Knowledge of yourself, knowledge of your spouse, knowledge of the things surrounding your spouse, knowledge of the things surrounding you, and other things. Spiritual knowledge, other knowledge. But especially the knowledge about yourself. Who are you? Your self-identity. Then who is your spouse? So those are things that I learned. I learned this thing the hard way because my wife is an alpha female. Yeah, my wife is more of an alpha female. I know alpha female people are always on the go. It's either if you they are very blunt. Alpha females are blunt. They don't send you. And a lot of time I will ask myself, person that's talking like this, what is our intention? That's the first thing I do. I check the intention. As soon as the intention is okay, I won't have a problem. But it took me time for me to keep quiet when some of those things are coming up. We're talking about family and parenting, don't forget. Now, how does this thing I've mentioned affect parenting? Now, by the time your wife gets pregnant, especially the wife gets pregnant, already your love as a man for the wife is being tested. Some women will vomit, and I've not seen people that like vomit. I've not seen. Maybe there are men that love vomiting. That when you are vomiting, it gives them kick. I said, "Come on, why are you vomiting? Can't you hold it? Hold it. Now can you vomit in the public? People are looking at us. But this woman is pregnant. She can't help it. It's a test of your love. I'm telling you, if you're able to pass all those tests that pregnancy will give you as a guy, oh my God, you have tried. Honestly, you're already getting close to C. Because those things will test your love and your tolerance and your ability to stand with her, even when she does not even understand her own behavior. I learned that the hard way. By God's will, we have 3 nations. One is 24 now, one is 22, and one is 18 years. And you're like, excuse me. But when the first one came, I was like, I'm vomiting. And they'll be asking for strange things. My wife can say, okay, I want to eat suya. Excuse me, this is 11 p.m. 11 p.m. in Port Harcourt. Where do I go and look for suya? Oh, we're living in what's that place called? In those days. And I want to find my way to Urumoko to go and look for suya. It's a test of my love for her because I could have decided I'm not going to stand up. It's already 10. For what? Why should I stand up and look for suya? Can't you eat what's available? Listen, let me take you on. Let's go on this journey. And then I will not get to Urumoko. 10 tests now. In those days, there are 2 guys that said suya at Urumoko. There's Bala. I think it's Bala or something. Bala or Musa. But I think it's Bala. There are plenty of people. Suya is. There are plenty of people always on his own side. There's another guy beside him who doesn't have that crowd. So I'll just need to go there and buy from that guy so that I can't wait for this crowd. But by the time I get to my wife, it's smell that I say, this is not from Bala. 11, it's almost 11 p.m. now. So what do? You don't even appreciate. No, at that time, you don't accept. And your test, that I love you, all that kneeling that you did and giving flower, giving whatever, it will be tested during that time. And if you pass that test, your parenting will be easy. Let me tell you why. If you pass that test, the pregnancy test that you experience as a guy, by the time you start parenting, you now understand, how can I say it now? The effort that it's like you and your wife carry the belly together. So when the child comes, you will love that child and you want to go ahead and do a lot of things for that child. Not just because of that child, but because of you. Because I also now the mother that carry this pregnancy or we carry this pregnancy together. And now your values now will begin to show up again when it comes to parenting. Your values will begin to show up again when it comes to parenting. Now, what do I mean by that? Don't forget that you are different persons trying to make sense together. And then another third person who has a different behavior whose value system has not been developed yet, but is throwing tantrums, has now come to the family. And your wife say, please help me carry the baby. No, I can't carry the baby, I'm tired. It's making, why is it making noise? Please talk to your daughter. She should stop making noise. I say, is it my daughter? It's not our child, but she's making noise. What are you trying to say? Your value is that, see, anything that is too troublesome, I can't handle anything that's too troublesome. I want my peace. Please, if you always want your peace, don't get married. Oh, because your peace are going to be shaken. When the children now come, they will not shake your peace, eh? That's why you see some parents are always running, especially mother, they want to run bunkers sometimes when the children are like, especially if you have like 4 boys at home, 4 boys, or you have 3 girls that are more like boys and they are throwing things, climbing everywhere, and then you almost want to run crazy. Now, there are different personalities coming into your family to show that yes, we are here and we also count. You must also listen to us. That's why those who are versed in toddlers will also tell you that listen to them. They also have something to say. Even though our culture didn't teach us that, culture say you are the father, you are the mother, you are the final say. You don't have the final say now when it comes to parenting. You really don't have the final say. It's advisory. You know, it's like you sit down, let us, okay, guy, what do you want? Come to their level. If they are small like this, don't stand up and talk to them. Kneel down beside them or sit down or just come to their eye level. And then you start talking. They won't even, so at that time, it's like, we are Palina, yes, chop knuckle, take 5. So, young girl, let us talk. So I learned those things, though I will admit here that the first child we have, our son, was like the trial and error. Firstborns are trial and error everywhere. If you are firstborn, I know I'm a firstborn. They use me for trial and error. By the time they got to the 3rd or 4th child, they on the stabilize. By the time they got to the last child, they are even forgotten about parents. They just leave that one to free roll like a sheep of the pasture. You just allow that one to free roll. That's why some of us say our last ones are always spoiled. It's not that they are spoiled. The pressure that you went through as a first child, your parents have learned along the line. But now parenting is more intentional. It's not about trial and error. That's why I believe that everyone who wants to be a parent should attend seminars. You should pay to attend seminars so that you don't use their destiny to do trial and error and then will not say it's the demon of the father's house. Some of these things are not demons. Some of these are the wrong handling when they were young. And you know, adverse childhood experience is not something that goes away like that. It's always there for a long time. Let me say this before I round up. Like I said before, you must constantly reappraise your values. Now, let me tell you what I did in my mind. I troubleshoot a lot of things that I do. So there's some aspects of, I'm a Yoruba person. My parents are from Yoruba, so I'm born to Yoruba, whatever, but I see myself as more of a Nigerian. By God's grace, I've been to every state in this country. Every state. I've lived in different places. So I become a bit balanced in terms of culture. There's something I call in the Yoruba culture that I do not appreciate. I don't appreciate not because they are wrong, but I think things are changing. And so I taught my children the changes that are happening in culture. For example, a child does not need to prostrate before he shows me respect. So I don't need it. You don't have to prostrate to show me respect. Bowing down alone is okay for me. And we can shake hands, we can hug. And then this theory of you cannot give somebody something with a left hand, I told I didn't train my children that left hand is bad and right hand is good. I didn't train my children like that. I taught them that both hands are given by God and they are equal. They are equal. But when you go out, these are the things that you will see. So when they go out, they are conscious of it, but in the house, left and right are the same thing. Then in our house also, there's nobody that cannot pick their plate after eating. I pick my plate to the kitchen. If I'm in the mood, I can wash it. If not, I can drop it. If it's the only plate, I'm doing one around the water and there's only one plate, that plate is only one. I will wash it and put it where it's supposed to be. So I train my children and mentor them like that, and that worked for us. It worked for us. Something that makes some couples to be angry. For example, I read somewhere that a woman farted and then the husband became angry, started beating her. How can you be somebody because the person farted? He said, how can she? Okay. Even if you know that even you go to toilet with people, common toilet, and you fart, they will still complain. Why is you able to fart for God's sake? So if my wife farts in this family, it will turn into a joke. In fact, you have signed a contract, meaning that you have challenged me to a contest. I will begin to that's probably that we catch fun in our family. We deliberately created that fun. Because when I got married, we went through a lot of shaking. I lost my job 3 weeks or 4 weeks after getting married. And that was my first job. No savings, nothing. We didn't spend our money for marriage. I decided I didn't borrow for marriage. I decided I was not going to borrow money. The only thing I had, I just people supported me, but what we had then was what we spent. We did not go to into debt. But by the time I lost my job, I had nothing I mean, no helper. Then that time my wife won't happen to go to take her hair to the stylist or to hairdresser. I will do it at home. I will apply the what do you call that thing? Revlon. Do Revlon they use those days. Revlon, yes, Revlon. I will apply the Revlon on it. When it is time to wash it, I will comb it. So that even brought us together. We will wash together, we will soak all the clothes inside the bathtub. In the middle of the night, maybe like around 4 a.m. or whatever, or maybe towards the twilight, we will wake up, we will wash it inside the bath. So by that we use our challenges to bond. And so when the children came, they saw it. They saw the bonding that we had together, and that has helped them also. And so by God's grace, we did not allow sibling rivalry to rear its head at all. Because we are relating to them as different entities. There's no one size fits all discipline in this house. No. No. Because we know it will not work. It will not work. Some of them, just looking at them, looking at this one alone, he knows. But the other one, until my middle girl, I have a boy and 2 guys. The first one is a boy, the middle one is a girl. That middle one, she still came in your hand or something threatening. She will test your endurance to a limit. But the last one cannot even stand just holding the cane like this. She will complain immediately. The first one, when you just talk to that one fits into it. Even though there's sometimes that they throw tantrums, but we're able to learn. I had to go to counselor. That time I was listening our kids as small children. We didn't have all this parent seminar that is everywhere now. I had to go to a counselor and say, please, I'm beating this boy too much. And I will beat him and he will still do the same thing. And the woman had to take me through a process. And from that I learned. Then I started growing. And then I was working on my marriage. Because if you don't work on your marriage, your parenting might not yield good results, honestly. You cannot be beating, you cannot be maltreating your spouse and expect your children to clap for you. They are watching you. Honestly, they are watching you. And by the time they watch you, they think that is the right thing to do. Or they probably think, well, if that is doing it, that means it's approved. And incidentally, and I happen to be a pastor. So if I maltreat my wife at home and I go to church and I begin to scream hallelujah, I'm a dead hypocrite. You understand? Dead and forgotten hypocrite. So we were conscious of all this, conscious of the fact that our value system needed to be modified as time goes on, as things are changing. The value system of year 2000 probably not hold water in 2022. Not to talk of the one that our parents used for us in 1960 something when people like us were born. You understand? So by and large, I'd like to just conclude by saying that your marriage is very influential when it comes to your parenting. You can't separate them. You can't maltreat your spouse and expect your children to clap for you or to end up treating their own wives good. I like to stop there. Vivian has shown up. Yes, Vivian is here. You've shown up. All right.
Thank you so much. I know that if we allow you, you can talk about marriage and parenting for a whole day, right? So, we're entering into segment 2, which is like an interview question and answer where I ask you some questions and then you respond to us while we wait for people who might have questions. Please, if you have any question, thank you, Grace. Thank you, Agnes. Thank you, Julie. Those of you who have been in the comments. If you have any questions, please kindly drop your questions. And if anything resonated with you in the course of the conversation, kindly share it on your social media with the hashtag PSA conversation so that other people can join what we're doing here as well. So, Mr. Jeph, I have a few questions for you before all our participants can, bring in their questions, right? So my first question is, you've been a parent for over 20 years now, and I have been an ardent follower. So I see you, I see your family, I see your relationship with your kids, right? So this is two questions in one. Can you briefly tell us, those of us who are young parents, I mean, my kids are still 7, 4, right? Those of us who are young parents, what can you tell us based on your own experience? What is the one thing you think that you got absolutely right? And secondly, what is the one thing you wish you would have done differently?
Good.
Looking back now, as
Yes,
in with
looking back,
everything that you have done. Yes, looking back.
I wish I had learned about parenting before raising kids.
Yeah,
Honestly,
yeah.
because during that time, I got married in 1997. There wasn't much about parenting, so nobody was talking about parenting. There were marriage seminars, and they just mentioned that
Mm,
parenting. They would just go and quote the heart of the child is, I mean, the rod of. I forgot how that scripture sounds. They emphasize on the rod. That means flogging, corporal punishment, and all the
mm,
rest. And that was how I was trained. I was
mm,
trained with canes. I was trained with corporal punishment, stoop down, carry stone, all manner of things. Or sometimes they remove your menu, you not eat for 3 evenings, all those kind of
mm,
punishment. So I came into marriage and parenting thinking that was right, especially the flogging part of it. Until I discovered
mm.
that this boy I'm flogging, it will still not change that behavior. That same thing will be doing it. So I had to go to someone, a counselor who had been married for, I mean, his children and mine and me were almost the same age, and myself, we're almost the same age. And then she was a trained counselor then. She was one of the people that mentored me. So I had to go and meet her. I started laughing. I said, Mommy, why are you laughing? He said, because you are beating the child, you do not ask the child. He said the child has an opinion. Oh, I mean that for the first time that a child has an opinion. He said, ask the child,
Mm,
what do you ask? Just ask the child. Throw away the cane first. Build rapport. I learned that after
mm,
I have flogged him to like age, I think it was an age 6 or something around that time. I can't remember. But along the line, I started changing. But this thing doesn't go on time. So parenting, I was now started reading books from Dobsons, reading books from different persons, and then I learned. But today, I would recommend that everyone who wants to get married must go through a parenting training that you
mm.
pay for. Thank God for the churches. I mean, Pastor, I can tell you the truth. Not all churches are doing enough. And not all the people that are in marriage counseling in church are qualified at all. They only say, I have married for 30 years, so I come and join. 30 years of what? So when are they going to change? They will come and teach us the same thing that grandfather taught. So things must be
Yeah.
changing. So what I would say is, I wish I learned about parenting. Though I was able to interject at a point, thank God for
Mm,
that. But I will tell
yeah.
people to, and then this thing, I don't know how people can do that. Don't rush into raising kids. Give yourself at least 1 year. But in African culture now, people will be praying for you. They will carry your name to prayer mountain. Even you have not sent them. If you, I told my wife and my wife that we are going to wait for 2 years to learn about
Mm,
each other before we start raising children. But we could not even wait. I mean, summer. We couldn't wait till 2 years. So that's okay. We'll do 1 year. But I think we added. I think was just about 6 months or something. So we couldn't wait because we didn't plan it very well. But that is desirable because it will give you the opportunity to calm down, know this man, know this woman before children start coming. Even as soon as pregnancy
yeah.
comes in, that woman is not the same person again. She's not the same
Yeah.
person.
Very,
By the time children come, she's not
yeah.
the same person again.
Yeah.
So
Very,
I
very,
wish I have
very
learned.
important. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes,
All
very,
right.
very important. Thank you. Thank you so much for that answer. So, what I'm getting from that is that, it's very important to not assume that because you are of age to bring a child into the world, that you are ready to be a parent. So, the
Exactly.
biology is different, but the capability to actually raise a child is something that
Different.
requires knowledge and learning. And a wise
That's
man I respect so much once said that the way you dedicate time to your business, to your life, to other aspects of your life for growing and for learning in those areas is the way you should also dedicate time and make effort to learn about parenting and to learn about the children that God has brought through you. Because the truth of the matter is that at the end of the day, you want to, at your old age, look back and say, I have done a good job. You don't want to still be parenting when you're supposed to be resting, because that's what happens
Uh-huh.
when you don't parent right. Now, at the age of, your child will be at the age of 30, they're still depending on you. They can't make decisions on their own. They are, or God
All the
forbid,
best.
they are in
So
one
a good
trouble or
result.
the other and they are dragging you all over the place. So I believe that if you're in this live stream, then that means you are an intentional and conscious parent, and that will not be a portion. So my second question is, you are from a religious background and you are a religious leader, right? And I want you to address this answer in a way that I don't know so much about other religions, but I think that it's almost the same thing because of the high expectation that is placed on religious leaders, right? Your children are expected to be perfect, and I feel that puts you people under pressure and puts the children under pressure. And there's also this idea that children from religious backgrounds have a boring life. So I want you to help us understand how you navigated this, because for some of us we may not even be religious leaders, quote and unquote, but because, for instance, I'm somebody who is talking about parenting, passionate about parenting, and I know the pressure I face. There's that pressure of people are looking at your children and expecting them to be perfect. How were you able to navigate that and to make sure that your children still had a balanced life and were still their authentic self, regardless of what people were thinking or expecting?
All right. Thank you very much. That is very, very important question. Very important. And I've taken this up on a few platforms before. Now, the pastor's child is as normal as any other child. Because his father is a pastor or his mother is a pastor or his father or parents are religious leaders, does not mean that that child will not still exhibit the normal thing children should do. So what I told my children is, see, you are a normal child, forget about this pastor thing. But you build your own values from what you have seen and then run with it. Now, the eldest one is 24 years. Let me give you an example. At the time he had this kind of bushy hair. I don't have any issue with bushy hair. I don't have any issue at all with bushy hair. But the thing is that what you want? Is it okay for you? Does it negate whatever thing that is in the scripture that we believe? No. So go ahead. Now, the pressure we put on them is not just the children. A lot of pastors do not have time to focus on their family. And I decided to be an exception. I pastor a church and we meet only twice in a week. There's no overcrowding of activities except once in a while we have special events, and that's all. So that people can go home and have time for their families. When we have too much events and people do not have time for their families, those children are going to be wayward. Even the one that you have time for, you are still managing such that it doesn't get into, it doesn't have influence for internet and whatever. And one of the one that's abandoned. Then secondly, we have people that are parenting these children along with us. We have the social media. Social media is one of the biggest parenting platforms. Because you hear all manner of trash from. You have all the singers there, all those actors, actresses, and those people that sing. They are competing with us to parent those children. So I did not put any pressure on my children at their pastor children. No, you are a child. First, do whatever thing. If you are going to play with sand like other children, go and do. Play game, but what kind of game are you playing? So I was able to I'm like a rebel actually, because people see that you are not a normal pastor. You are like a rebel kind of thing. But the thing is that I will not do things that do not align with what I believe, and I know that values can change as time goes on, even religious values.
Yes.
There are some questions that people are asking the church now because things are changing. The culture where the Bible was written is not the same culture where we are existing. That kind of thing. So many things are coming up. So I believe that pastor children are not supposed to be put under pressure. They are not supposed to be in the shadows of their father. They are supposed to be an entity on their own, but with guidance from the father. Not because he's a pastor, but because he is a father. That's what I consider important.
Yeah. So there's something you said that caught my attention. You said, but they're not supposed to be in the shadows of their father. And I think it's not just about the pastor's children, it's about all of us. Like I would always
Yeah.
say, you are not raising a mini me. Your child doesn't have to be
Aha.
like you.
I'm
Your
not
child doesn't
cloning
have to be
you.
like you. Yes, your child doesn't have to be like you. Your child doesn't have to have. You don't have to use your child to fulfill your failed dreams, right?
Mm-mm.
You don't have to have a predetermined idea of who your child should become. It should be
Be.
based on the child in front of you and your interaction with them, and then you're nurturing them, you're guiding them, you're helping them become who God created them to be, not to become like you or become what you expect of them. I think that's something that all of us should take home and work with our parenting. It has been an amazing time. Please, guys, if you have any questions, I think I'm done with my own questions. So if you have any questions, please drop them and would answer them. Kindly drop your questions and would answer them. But before we do that, I'd like to point out that this particular conversation is sponsored by the Bunkers Abuja, and that's where I'm shooting from. If you are in the city of Abuja and you are looking for a co-working space, a personal space where you can do your business, where you can have your meetings, where you can meet your clients, please look at the Bunker Abuja. It's a very beautiful and creative space, and they have really nice and amazing staff. Everything you need in one place: internet space, private offices, co-working spaces, training rooms. So this is the Bunker Abuja, and they are the headline sponsors of this particular conversation. If you're in Abuja, come into the Bunkers and tell them you're from Dr. Vivian Okoye. They'll give you a special treatment. So guys, thank you
Thank you,
for
bunkers.
joining. Thank you, the Bunker.
Thank you,
Yes,
bunkers.
thank you for
Okay.
joining, and please don't go anywhere. Our next conversation will be on having the sex conversation with your child, because you also want to, this whole conversation is around building strong families, right? So that is a very important aspect of building a strong family, building a family that is abuse proof, building a family that is going to raise children who are not exposed to sexual harassment, who know how to, who are aware of themselves, aware of their sexuality, aware of what is going on in the world, and who have the knowledge and the capacity to protect themselves. How can we do this? This is a very important gift we need to give to our children, because like Mr. Jeph said, the social media is another thing that is helping us parent our children. And when you look at the social media, the odds are not in our favor. So we have to be smart and we have to be ahead. We cannot continue to bury our head in the sand and act like our children do not know these things. They see these things, they hear them, but how can we show up for them and help them to understand that they can actually come to us with their questions? That's the conversation we want to have in the next session, and I don't want you to go anywhere. That session is starting by 6 p.m. exactly 6 p.m. You start that session, and I look forward to having you all back. Thank you for joining. And you guys not have questions for Mr. Jeph. That means you understood everything that he said. Thank you
I
for being good
understand.
students. Thank you for listening. And Mr. Jeph, thank you for being a great teacher. We have learned so much from your wisdom. Thank you for
Thank
showing
you.
up.
It's
Thank
a
you for
privilege.
sharing your story and your wisdom. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Guys, see you at 6. Thank you.
All right. I appreciate
Bye.
everybody. Thank you. Bye.
All right.